Dear students of Honors Part 4, you are welcome to the class. Hopefully, you are keeping well. I am Siddhartha Shankar, an assistant professor in English in Government Horoganga College, Munshiganj. In your syllabus, you have one course entitled 20th Century Novel. And in this course, you have uh, 5 novels, and those are Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, A Passage to India by E.M. Foster, uh, Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse, uh, D.S. Lawrence's Sons and Lovers, and The Grass is Singing by Doris Lessing. And dear students, today we are going to start from this course the first novel, that is Heart of Darkness. And before discussing the novel or reading out from the novel, we must know about the novelist. And as you know, this novel was written by Joseph Conrad. But uh, this is the name Joseph Conrad was his pen name, and his actual name was Joseph Theodor Conrad Korzeniowski. So this is Polish name, or this type of name you will find the people of Germany. Hmm. Korzeniowski. You have to know the full name of Joseph Conrad. So Joseph Conrad was by birth a Polish, or he was a Pole. And he was on born in 1857, and he was died in 1924. That means he was born in Victorian era, Victorian period, and died in modern period. And therefore, in his writings, we get the flavor of modernism, or the characteristics of modernism we will find in his novel. And Joseph Conrad, uh, he was a Polish, but when he was born, at that time, Poland was not an independent country, rather, it was under a colony of Russia. That is why there, at the time there was the people of Poland were fighting for their independence. And Joseph Conrad's father was a leader. He was a leader for the fight of independence of Poland. That's why uh, Joseph Conrad's father was arrested by the Russians, and his mother, that means Conrad's mother, voluntarily accepted voluntarily accepted it, and she accompanied her husband. Uh, she accompanied her husband. That's why they both were in imprisonment, the parents of Joseph Conrad. And unfortunately, Joseph Conrad lost both of his parents at an early age, and in fact, he lost his parents when he was only 11 years old, and that's why from his early age he was depressed, or he was lack of hope about life. And this has a great impact on him in his writing, and on his career also. And Joseph Conrad, he was very much dissatisfied with the Russian authority, and he left Poland. And at first he went to Germany, and he went to Germany, and later he went to uh, England. And Joseph Conrad nourished one desire that he will be a sailor by profession. Though this profession was uncommon to his family, because none of his family members, or none of his ancestors was involved in this profession, but he decided to become a sailor, and that's why he went to German, and he when he was only 17 years old, he left Poland and went to German, and there he managed a job in a merchant, um, sailing merchant, that is merchant navy that is involved in business, or involved in business, that merchant navy. There he got a job, and he continued this job for about 4 years, and later he moved to England, and in England he managed a job, and um, uh, he uh, he in England he managed a job in navy or in sailing profession, and he became a sailor, and he became a citizen of Britain. That means he became a British citizen after going to England, and that that's why he could never wholly become a French or Polish. That means or a English. That means he was born in Poland. Later he migrated to France, and later from there he went to England in search of profession, and therefore he became a citizen of England, but he couldn't take it wholeheartedly. He didn't take this wholeheartedly. Rather, he was always hold pessimism about his life, about his career, and about his job. And so throughout his life he was a man apart. That means he was isolated. He was isolated one. He used to think in his own way, and he always had a different attitude towards life, and his philosophy of life was somehow different from others, and therefore uh, uh, and in a British ship he got a job, and that ship name was Mavis. But the fact is that he faced one difficulty. He hardly know English language, because he had a very little idea about English language, and later he learned to learn English, because his mother tongue was not English. And whenever he got job in Mavis, that is the ship, he had several voyages, sea journey, and uh, he traveled Singapore, Borneo, the Gulf of Siam, and from these voyages or sea journey, he gathered a lot of experiences, and in his later writings, we get the reflection of such experiences, and uh, and in one trip he went to visit Congo, the African country, which is referred as dark continent here in this novel, The Heart of Darkness. And here he got the opportunity to go, and from there he got a lot of experiences about this region of about this part of this world, the Congo. And The Heart of Darkness, the novel, here we get the reflection of his first hand experience. Here what he has written actually, it is from his experience. That's why this novel is sometimes called a autobiographical novel, and because the practical experience of the novelist has been reflected here in this novel. And mm, the Heart of Darkness, this you will find he was always serious about life, because from his boyhood his experience was bitter. His father was arrested for want of independence. He was a leader, but he was arrested, and later he died. And that Conrad, he had some profession which is uncommon to his family family atmosphere. That's why he was never optimistic about life, rather pessimistic, and in this present term we call it that depression. He always he used to suffer from depression. And in his writings we also find the reflection of seriousness. Most of his life stories or novels are very much serious, and it deals with the mm, darkness of life. And you know it is the where we will find bitterness or darkness or seriousness in most of his writings. And this Heart of Darkness is not an exceptional. Here we also he also dealt with some serious things. And some serious things, the relationship, the first one is thing, you see the relationship between the black and the white. And even in the present era, in the present time, you will find the relationship between the black and the white is always something antagonistic. And this type of racism is still prevailing throughout the world. So it is a serious thing which he dealt in this novel. And here we will find the relationship between black and white. And another thing is that was very important at that time, very serious thing at that time, that is imperialism and colonialization. And at that time, that stronger countries of Europe, they used to set colonies in different parts of the world. And they had their own views, and they have their own logic for setting this type of colonies. And this is also a serious thing which he dealt in this novel. And in most of his writings, in most of his novels, this type of serious things are found. And that's why he was not a popular writer, popular novelist in his time. That means not his novels are not bestseller. In the very popular term, bestseller novel, bestseller book. But his books were actually very serious in term, and that's why readers were few in number. And so he was not a best-selling novelist or a good-selling novelist. But he got his recognition later. And when he visited Congo in the ship, maybe he got serious illness, and he was suffering from malaria gout. And that he continued almost throughout his life. And he had a negative attitude towards conjugal life, that is marriage. And that's why at one time he decided not to marry, but later he met that Jessie George, one lady, and he decided to marry her. But there was one precondition before marrying, that they will not take any issues. That means they will not take any child in their conjugal life. But later this didn't, they couldn't take this vow, or they couldn't, this was not maintained. This was not maintained later. And ultimately they got this Jesse George and Joseph Conrad got two children, two boys, that is Boris and John. Boris and John. And in fact, Joseph Conrad got married in 1896. And his first child, that is Boris, he was born in 1898, and the second one born in 1906. And you know, Jesse George, the lady, he got an accident, and he got a severe injury in her knee, and she became a cripple for the rest of his life, and she couldn't walk. Um, and Joseph Conrad, he was also suffering from several types of disease, and again the fact is that there was financial crisis in his family, and you know, this was very much it was a great tragedy for his life. He was first in his at the first stage of his life he was a sailor, and later he decided to become a writer, leaving his profession of sailing, and professionally he took the writing as a profession. But as a professional writer, he was not a popular writer, because his novels were not selling or good selling books. That's why he has several tragedies in his life. He was never optimistic about his life. He was rather a pessimistic one, and you know, he was suffering from depression throughout his life. And in his conjugal life, both he and his wife was suffering from several diseases. Financial condition was not good. Parents died at an early age, and in his writing we found also the reflection of his that misfortunes of his life. And that's why he was basically uh, a writer who is who should be taken. We must take him as a serious writer. And in his novel The Heart of Darkness, he has his reflection of his philosophy, the reflection of his philosophy has been mentioned. And you know, this novel is about, of course, that colonialism and the relationship between the black and the white, the colonizer and the colonized people. And you know, dear students, so in this class I have tried to give you some idea about the novelist Joseph Conrad. And you know, in the classroom atmosphere, or in the virtual classes, it is somehow difficult to go through the whole novel. Rather, we will go through some selected lines or selected paragraphs of the novel. We will know about the characters. We will go through the philosophy of the novelist. We will go through the theme of the novel, and hopefully you will stay connected with this class, and hopefully you will be benefited from this class. So dear students, I request you to follow the classes, follow my classes in my and you please stay safe and sound, and thank you for watching today.